just outside the city of Terre Haute, Indiana, on the morning of Saturday, November 29, 2025. A stretch of the interstate many Americans rely on was transformed from a routine travel route into a frozen corridor of chaos. The highway was Interstate 70 I-70, a normally reliable artery running west-east through central Indiana. That morning, as a heavy winter storm descended across the region, it brought more than just snow. It brought dangerously slick surfaces, blinding snowfall, and a catastrophe waiting to happen. It began innocuously enough. Travelers who had spent Thanksgiving with family were packing up their cars, loading bags, buckling up children, pets, souvenirs, and memories. Some were heading home, others were venturing onward for a weekend of errands or errands-turned trip. But the weather, subtle at first, was turning against them. Snow started falling in gentle flurries, small and seemingly harmless, coating roads, cars, trees. The temperature hovered around freezing, and by mid-morning, snowfall intensified. Wind gusts whipped across the open fields of Indiana, piling snow on the shoulders of the road and blowing it across lanes like drifting smoke. Visibility dropped sharply. What had been a clear drive became a whiteout. The horizon, once visible, vanished. Road markings faded under snow. Headlights cut through only a few dozen yards at most. Drivers slowed, cautious, but still moving. Somewhere near mile marker 15, a zone just outside Terre Haute in Viva County, the cascade began. A sedan traveling westbound lost traction. Its tires spun. The car began to slide off course. With slick asphalt beneath and snow obscuring vision, the driver had little time to react. Behind came a pickup truck. The driver braked, but on ice brakes don't work well. The truck fishtailed. A moment later, another vehicle, an SUV, tried to swerve to avoid the crash, but instead clipped the pickup's rear. That contact set off a chain reaction. Wheels locked, tires lost purchase, metal collided into metal, glass shattered, bumpers crumpled. From the first skid to the final crash, less than 30 seconds had passed. And in that brief instant, more than 40 additional vehicles, cars, SUVs, minivans, light trucks, and even a few semis joined the horror. By the time the sliding stopped, by the time engines died and emergency flashers blinked on, roughly 45 vehicles had been involved in collisions, slide-offs, or near misses. Some lay stacked bumper to bumper, others were thrust off the highway, into snow-covered shoulders or embankments, crumpled and unmoving. A few cars rested nose first in ditches, a semi was jackknifed across lanes. A van was pushed sideways, wheels spinning uselessly in deep snow. No driver had time to react. No brake, no swerve, no evasive maneuver could break the chain. The highway had become a steel trap in white silence. Invisible ice, limited visibility, too little distance between vehicles, and a tragedy born from the interplay of human error and nature's harshness. For those traveling westbound on I-70 that morning, the world changed in an instant. One moment, radio talk shows discussing Thanksgiving leftovers. The next, the roar of engines falling silent, tires spinning uselessly, the smell of burning rubber and heated panic filling the cold air. Inside some cars, drivers froze, hands tight on steering wheels, eyes wide in shock. In others, passengers, children, elderly parents, pets screamed, cried, or simply held on. Some tried to open doors, but snow blocked the way. Some climbed over seats, over airbags, over twisted metal frames to escape. Emergency calls exploded across dispatch channels. Police, fire, EMS units all got the alerts. It didn't take long for the first siren to slice through the storm's howl. But arrival wasn't immediate. Visibility was poor, snow was thick, and crews had to navigate slowly, carefully. Meanwhile, people responded the only way they could. Drivers jumped out of cars into the muffled whiteness. Passengers huddled together under blankets. Some even offered coats or jackets to complete strangers. In those first moments after the crash, the interstate was no longer just a road. It was an emergency shelter, a meeting point, a fragile hope against the winter's wrath. As first responders trickled in, the scale of the wreckage became horrifyingly clear. Twisted metal, shattered glass, leaking fluid on slick asphalt, tires buried in snow, vehicles blocking every lane. Westbound traffic, all of it, stopped dead. Engines off, headlights dim. The highway became a graveyard of motionless machines. People stepped out, blinking against the snow, their faces pale, their breath visible in the cold air. Some gathered around car hoods, supporting neighbors, offering blankets. Others sat down on tires or leaned against vehicles, grips tight on steering wheels, knees shaking, waiting. On the eastbound side of I-70, the storm was not finished. As crews battled the main wreck, additional slide-offs and smaller collisions began to emerge. Cars that tried to slow down or avoid the wreck's aftermath lost control. A drift of snow across the lane, a sudden gust, a momentary glare from headlights, enough to send vehicles sliding into ditches or colliding with guardrails. The danger spread outward, beyond the first crash site, as if the entire highway system was being consumed by winter's appetite. Conditions: snow falling steadily, wind howling, cold biting at exposed skin. Tow trucks maneuvered among wrecks, chains rattling, engines revving, workers shouting over the storm to coordinate. Firefighters searched every car, making sure no one was trapped. Paramedics treated the injured. Police blocked off entrances, rerouted traffic miles away, sent drivers home. At one point, it was estimated that the highway would remain closed for at least 6 hours. Some vehicles had to be winched out, others completely removed by flatbeds. Fuel leaks, broken axles, busted suspensions, each wreck needed the right equipment, precise coordination, and patience. The snow did not stop. It continued to fall, to accumulate. With every flake, the danger lingered, waiting to trap more unsuspecting vehicles. Inside a damaged SUV, a mother cradled her child, whispering soothing words, tears freezing on her cheeks. Outside, a group of strangers shared a single blanket, huddled together for warmth. A middle-aged man paced near his car, stomping snow off his boots, trying to stay active, denying the cold creeping in. An older couple stood beside their damaged sedan, holding each other tightly, grateful to be alive. The mix of fear, relief, shock, compassion, it filled the air nearly as much as the snow and sirens. No fatalities were reported. That, in itself, became its own stunning headline. Considering the scale, 45 vehicles, multiple collisions, a treacherous highway under a heavy winter storm, it could so easily have ended differently. But somehow, despite the horror, most people walked away with only minor or moderate injuries. Some had bruises, sprains, or shock, others had nothing but cold and the memory of screeching tires and crunching metal. As daylight faded and snow continued to swirl, final measures began. Wrecked cars were cleared. Debris, glass, plastic, metal shards was swept away. Salt trucks and plows were deployed to treat the icy asphalt to make the road passable again. Tow trucks carried away the twisted hulks, sedans missing bumpers, SUVs with crushed roofs, vans with shattered rear windows, semis with bent trailers. For hours, they worked under heavy snow, cold air, and the weight of urgency. By late afternoon, westbound lanes were reopened. Traffic trickled cautiously, slowly, cars moving at crawl speed across the treated but still slick asphalt, headlights cutting through dimness, drivers looking warily ahead, tension visible on faces. The highway was moving again, but it would never be the same for those who lived through the morning. The emotional aftermath was heavy. Survivors sat in their cars long after the tow trucks left, hugging their loved ones, calling others to say they were alive. Some cried, some whispered prayers, some stayed silent, eyes fixed on the road ahead, memories still trembling. For many, the crash turned a routine drive into a moment of clarity about fragility, luck, fate, and how a single decision, speed, distance, braking, can matter more than we imagine. In the following days, conversation turned to what went wrong and what could have prevented it. Weather experts pointed to the rapid drop in temperature, the sudden freezing of road surfaces, and the heavy snowfall as primary culprits. They reminded people that what looks like harmless snow can hide dangerous ice beneath. Authorities debated road treatment protocols, when to salt roads, when to close highways, when to issue travel advisories. Public safety messaging urged motorists to slow down, use winter tires, keep proper distance, and check road conditions before traveling. Others pointed to human factors, tailgating, overconfidence, underestimating weather, relying too much on modern vehicle safety systems. Some drivers admitted they thought they could make it just a little further, just a little faster, before conditions got worse. That moment of hesitation, of misjudgment, became the pivot on which that entire chain crash turned. But beyond blame or regret, the story that emerged was also one of community and compassion. Strangers helped strangers. People offered blankets, food, hot drinks. Some stayed with children to calm them, others held hands, offered shoulders, even silent prayers.